Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Whispering Dots. More specifically, this is Shifer Dots 106, and it's a collaboration between guBBLOR and Jasura, where it's a combination of Shifer Dots and, in this particular case, Dutch whisper lines. Now, this particular puzzle that I'm now solving at 7 PM, which I admit isn't exactly late, but it's been a long day in this sleuth household. We had I shouldn't say we were over at the family gathering, and sometimes they can make the day a bit longer. That's just the polite way of describing the day. Anyway, 3-star difficulty rated. We are committed to all of guBBLOR's series at this point, so we kind of have to solve it. So I apologize if I absolutely butcher this solve. You're going to be kind in your comments, please. There's a couple of you that I'm keeping an eye on, when I make these comments. And let's just jump away from this introduction. Oh yeah, I guess that's kind of my attempt to try and interpret what Whispering Dots would look like. So here's what I'm hoping will happen, is that we're in a library of secrets. The dots and the glyphs on these books are whispering to us all of the solutions that we need. Fingers crossed it will be that smooth when we take a look at today's puzzle. Shifer Dots 106. I'm not going to pronounce the German. Please accept my apologies if you're able to. Whispering Dots by guBBLOR and Jasura. You've heard all of that. And the following set of rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Nothing unusual here. Shifer Dots. So these are the lime green dots that we have here. Let me pick this one. So digits on different sides of a Shifer Dot must always either share parity, as in even/odd, or polarity, as in high/no. Never neither and never both. So, and Shifer Dots can never have a 5. So let's just think about what that means. If this cell is a 2, the other side of the dot, either I am sharing the same parity but not polarity, parity, so even but not polarity, so high, so 6 and 8, or I am sharing the same polarity as in a low digit, but not parity, so 1 and 3. So if that's a 2, this would have to be from 1, 3, 6, or 8. I don't know if I need another example. You guys, it's Shifer Dots 106, and we've done Shifer lines, so they play very similar, the whole series between Shifer Dots, equality cages, etc. Right, we've got Kropki dots. So a black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2 to 1 ratio. So if this cell is a 2, this would have to be 1 or 4, so that essentially one cell is double the other. Not all dots are shown, so negative constraints do not apply. So if I have a 4 in here, clearly in a 2 to 1 ratio without a black dot between them, absolutely fine under today's rule sets. Then of course, last but not least, we've got the Dutch whispers. So adjacent digits on the Dutch whisper line have to have a difference of at least 4, and digits may repeat on the line. So if this cell is a 2, to be 4 or more away, this would have to be 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now, I deliberately tried to shy away from the ones that were kind of having dots, because I think they're going to be a little bit more restricted. I'll be almost like solving it for you. But just something to bear in mind is that unlike German whisper lines, I can have a 5 on a Dutch whisper line, because 4 or more away would be 1 or 9, for example. So keep in mind that it's not the case that you can regularly assume that polarities shift every other cell along the line. That's all the rules we have for today. A tough puzzle for a Sunday morning, but I'm sure this group is up to the task. As always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Now, I'm feeling in general, I don't know about you, but I am feeling a lot more comfortable with Dutch whisper lines given the few Dutch whisper line puzzles we've solved recently. The one that stands out to me was Willpower's, and then also the sunflower seed one, so Squid Game and sunflower. And, it's things that I'm starting to recognize. Black Kropki dots on a Dutch whisper line can only be 4 or 8. Quick refresher, if it's 1, 2, 4, or 8, that's one set of black Kropki dot digits. Then the other set is 3 and 6, and then of course you can't have 5, 7, or 9 on black Kropki dots. 1 and 2 are clearly too close, 2 and 4 are still too close, 3 and 6 are too close, 4 and 8 are the only black Kropki dots that are exactly 4 apart. Nothing else would work on a Dutch whisper line. Not that it's been particularly helpful, let's be fair here. Other thing that I've always learned to recognize, a triangle of Dutch whisper lines can only ever be 159. Essentially, let's just go with extreme digits. If this is 2 and this is 8, something other than the 1 or 9, try and come up with a digit that is 4 or more away from both the 2 and the 8, and you're going to find that impossible. So the only way this works is if it is 159. The more I can place 5s down, the better this is for me, because obviously that's a little bit tricky when it comes to Dutch whisper lines. The thing is, none of these necessarily result in a break-in. I mean, 4 is quite restricted. This would be 8 or 9. 8 is quite restricted. Is it quite restricted? No, it's less restricted than the 4. It's got a lot more options. So it's not enough. So like, I think it's going to have to be this shape here. There's something going on with this shape. Let's have a think about it. So in general, shifter dots on Dutch whisper lines, to be 4 or more apart, and remember, no 5s, pretty much means that this is going to have to be the same parity, but different polarity. Can't be anything else. Because let's think about the groupings for a second. Let me do this way. So low digits, come on, low digits, high digits, even digits, odd digits, even digits. I'm just going to group them this way just to help. So 1, 3, low and, oh, I really didn't want to do that. Sorry. Right, better. 2, 4, odd and high, 7, 9, 6, 8. Right, so these are sort of like different groups depending on the parity and polarity. Now, if you have a 1, 3, in essence, what this is saying is you either shift the parity and you go to a 2, 4, or you shift the polarity and you go to a 7, 9. Can't share the same polarity and parity, so you can't stay in place, and you cannot shift both and go to the 6, 8. So you can end up doing with shifter dots something where, in essence, you color them. Let's call this red, call this blue. And every time you go across one of these dots, you shift colors, because that's the only valid move. So if it's blue, you go to red, and if it's red, you go to blue. Now, I'm not going to use blue and red here, but just keep this in mind when we come to this. Now, the other thing that I also said is because of the 4 or more difference, you can see very clearly that even if I pick the most extreme digits, 9 and 6 here, that's only a difference of 3, and 4 and 1, that's only a difference of 3. So I can't shift parity, I always have to shift polarity, which would allow me to say something as follows. One is purple, one is orange, don't know which is which, but I know that I am consistently shifting between them. So if purple is low, orange is high, and here is our first problem, that is almost definitely a 5. Because if that's low and that's high, the only way this works on Dutch whisper lines, if this is 5 and this is a 1-9 pair. Now, if this is 1, essentially I have to go to the 7, 9, but I've obviously used the 9, so this would be 7. And if this is 9, I have to go to the 1, 3, but I've obviously used the 1. So this is actually forced as well. This is 3, 7. Very clever, very clever. Let's keep this going. No 5 down here. No, all right, okay, so 5s. And no 5s on shifter lines, shifter dots, excuse me. So that's 5, because that's the only place left for it in box 5. That means this has to be 1, 9, because it already sees the orange 1, 9 in here. So this is the purple 1, 9. This is another 5. And we have our break-in, ladies and gentlemen. This would have to be orange, because I have to shift polarity. Remember this reference, I will delete it at some point. And once again, it has to be 5. We've got the same challenge. Purple and orange, the only way to get across from them is 5. I am going to remove this, I'm sorry, because I can see Sudoku says no fives. Shifter dot says no fives, that's a 5. No fives, no fives. Can't be 5 because it's too close to the 4 and 8, and actually can't be 5 in here, so that's another 5. So no fives, no fives. One of these two is a 5. One of these two is a 5, just Sudoku at this point. And then these line up, you can see in rows 8 and 9. So one of these two is a 5 as well. Right, where do I go from here is the question. The fact that there are, I mean, this one could have a 5, but pretty much, and this one could have a 5, but pretty much all of the Dutch whisper lines now don't have 5s. So I can actually use polarity, and I probably will. But before I do that, yeah, here is something. This is from 2, 4, 6, and 8 because it's not 1, 5, 9 or 3, 7. So this is all even 2, 4, 6, and 8. And then I have the orange 1, 9 in here with one of the 2, 4, 6, 8s. Don't know how I want to pencil mark that. I may need to hit the pause button at a point, by the way, because our eldest dog, just due to the fear of fireworks, is now used to sleeping in the basement, and she's just by the stairs saying to me, why are you not taking me downstairs to hide? Sorry, just thinking this through. Not too sure, actually. So no 5s in any of these. So I am tempted to use polarity in here, by the way. I really am. And we know that this shifts polarity. We know that this is an orange 1, 9 because we've got the, sorry, purple 1, 9 because we've got the orange up there. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, this is good. Right. Let's talk about row 3. And specifically the 2 cells that I have highlighted. And the question now is essentially trying to think around is, can I have an orange 3, 7? Because the orange 3, 7 is somewhere in row 3 and it's not this cell because of Sudoku. Now the challenge with an orange 3, 7 in here is I'd need to shift polarity, but if I shift polarity from the orange, I would have to go to purple 1, 9 or 3, 7, neither of which is available in row 3. So the 3, 7 isn't here. This is another one that has to be even because essentially none of the odd digits could fit in here. And this 4, 8 is telling me that this is 2, 6. If it's 2, this could be 6 or 8. If it's 6, this is definitely a 2. And the low digits is always a 2. Hang on, am I right in that? Yeah, because that can't be 8. So I can't do 8, 4, for example. There is always a 2. And the reason I sort of said this is interesting because the orange 3, 7, we already established isn't here, Sudoku isn't there, has to be on the black Kropki dot. So this is forced to be 3, 6. Come on, 3, 6. Which also tells me that orange is a 3, or low specifically. I don't know if I'm going to change colors to this. I probably will, just because I really do want to reuse the purple and orange again. And therefore 3, 1, 9, 9, 7, 1, 3, 6. No 6s here now. That means that's the 2, that's the 8, and this is the 4. Fantastic. I still need in here 2, 6, and 8, which I'm not going to bother pencil marking for now. 3, 6. Let's have a think about this. I could easily have 6, 1. Let me think about this. Sorry, excuse me. purple, orange. And I know that neither of these are 5, too close to the 3, 6. So this is definitely doing that. And yes, that forces this to be 5. It has to be. Otherwise, how am I going to connect two different polarities? So that's 5. This is another 1, 9. I don't know the polarity of these because obviously I changed the colors. This 5 gives me another 5 in here. 9 in there, meaning that this is a 1, 5 pair in here. Now I know that I have a 1 there. And I'm not, sorry, let me just think about this. So the 1 goes with 2, 4, 7, 9. 7 and 9 are not available. So it would go with 2 or 4. And there's a definite 1. So the 6 and 8 in here are forced. It's not enough information. 2 could absolutely be 4. 4 could absolutely be 2, but not 8. 6 could be 3, and 8 is not possible because it can't be 4 because of that 4, 8. So 8 is off the table. Still tons of options though. That's not great. I'll color these just out of habit, really. So 1, 3 are not available. So essentially I have, you remember how I said you can kind of group them, 1, 3, 6, 8, 2, 4, 7, 9. Now that I know that 1 and 3 are not available in box 1, I know that there is a 6, 8 in here, and it would need to join with 2, 4, 7, 9, and essentially it's going to be a 2, 4. I just really want to think about this before I make that statement. Shifer Dots jump between these two groups. Yes. Yes. And 1, 3, and 6 are not available. So this is an 8. But then all of 2, 4, 7, 9, I mean, the only reason it was restricted previously is the Dutch Whisper. So it would have been 8 with 2 or 4, but that's not the case here. I could actually get away with 7 or 9. Right. So 8 is in there. And then essentially one of the 2, 4, 7, 9s, well, 2, 4, 7 to be fair, because this 9 is in here, and then 2 of the 2, 4, 7 are in there. It's not a huge amount of information, if I'm honest. It's coming along so well. What am I thinking? So I'm going to think the following. I have 2 low digits. Without the 5, I have a third, a fourth. So these 2 cells are actually high digits now. And the low digits, one of them is a 3, and therefore would have to jump to the other polarity, 7 or 9. And then one of them is 2 or 4 and would have to jump to 6 or 8. So I'm not really restricting this very much. This is polarities again. I don't know how I missed this. Essentially, I've got 2 lows, 3 lows. I only have a 4th low in here in the middle. Therefore, these 2 are highs. The only high digit available in here is a 6, which gives me a 3. And therefore, this has to be the 8. And the only one that is essentially 4 or more away from the 6, that can only be a 2. That's not a 2, that's a 1, 4 pair. And then one of them is going to be... So what were the other 2 low digits? Excuse me. It was 2 with 6 or 8. Yeah, it's not very helpful, actually. Moving on. Does that 3 help? Yes, because again, I've got the 5s. So that's low, that's high. These are all lows. This is not 1 or 3, that is 2 or 4. For this to be a high digit that is 4 or more away from 3, this is 7, 8, or 9. Now remember, I have to change polarity in here because it's a Dutch whisper line and the shifter dot. So essentially, if this is 7, that would have to be 1 because the 3 is not available. Is that true for 9? Yes. And if this is 8, this would have to be 2 or 4. I haven't really, for a second I thought I was onto something. No, 2. So no 2 here, so this is 1 or 4. No, again, not quite enough. So close though. Shifter dots don't have to have both parities. I'm just looking at the fact that 2, 4, and 8 are not available. I could make this entirely out of odd digits, can't I? Yeah, 1, 3, 7, 9. I feel like now I'm starting to miss things. So no 5s on here. I'll use a different set of colors. So green, green, green. Did I color this correctly? Yeah. Yellow. Kind of struggling with this a bit. So if it's a 2 in here, 6 and 8 both work. If it's a 3, 7 and 9 both work. So not hugely helpful, to be fair. Now, whichever one is a 4 in here, there is a 9 between these cells. And I say 9 specifically because, remember, it's either 8 or 9 to be 4 or more away on a Dutch whisper line from a 4, and 8 is not available. So there's a 9 in one of these cells. And then the 8 is a lot more permissive. It's basically allowing any low digit, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, the 9 would very easily go with the 2 or 3, but the 1, 2, 3, 4, certainly a 4 would be very restrictive, but I can't force that. So if this is 5, that's 9, which it isn't anymore. One of these two cells is 9. And obviously if this is 5, that's not 1. Sorry, that's not 1 because it would break this cell. So that can't be 5. That is 5. That's 1. That's 5. And then we have more polarity, to play with here. Yeah, I will color things on the Dutch whisper line. And then 3 can only be in here, 4 can't be there, and this is 7. Now the 3 is forced in here with a 9 because 7 is not available. And then in here it's a 2 with 6 or 8, both of which still work, but there's a definite 2. Now that leaves me with a 6 or 8 and a 7, and the 7 can't be here. That's the 7, and this is the 6 or 8. Then I have another 6, 8 in here, and a definite 2, and here is another 6 or 8 in here. So 3 is easy, 9 is easy, can basically allow any of these low digits. So not helpful, sadly. The 1, 9 pair is not helpful either. One of these is a 4, isn't it? No, 1 and 2, 3. I don't have to have a 4 in here, so I can't even remove a 7. I can remove 3 and 4 from here. Sorry, 4. Come on, sleuth. 8, 4. So I know that green is high, yellow is low, and therefore that gives me 3, 9, 9, 1, 2. And then the rest of them are 1, 2, 9. Complete row 7. And that hasn't resolved the 6 or 8. It has given me this 4, which is 1 and 4 in here. No 1s. No 1s. If it's 1, this would have to be 7 or 9, and it can't be 9, it's 7. No, not useful right now. 1 is in one of 2 cells, we'll leave it at that. How are we doing for time? 21 minutes. I'm not disappointed by that. No 5s means there's a low and high digit in here. And that means all of the low digits are gone. And the 5 is gone, so all of the remaining digits are high. Yeah, not enough, is it? So no 9, which means... No, I was going to say 9 is in one of these 3 cells, but 9 here is absolutely fine. If anything, almost desirable because of the 1, 2, 4 situation that's here. Or the high chance that there is a 4 in there, let me put it that way. So the 8 goes with 2, 4, 7, 9. Actually, hang on, no 8 in here. No 8, 7 and 9 forces a 1. Can't be 4 anymore. Not 1. One of these is a 1. One of these 3 is a 1. Come back to that later. Still don't know whether this is 2 or 4. But progress. 1 gave me 9, gave me 1, gave me polarity in here as well. Purple is low, orange is high. And we know that this is 6, this is 3. Doesn't resolve these. Almost don't mind at this point though. This is excellent progress, I'm happy. Ooh, interesting. There is probably some sort of trick between these. See, if this is 9, that would be 7, that would be 2. If that's 2, that would be 9, that would be 4. So there's like a very strange relationship here. That doesn't quite resolve, but you know, we get one, we get the rest. I think we've got all the 5s now, haven't we? It also forces a 4 in here, because that's the remaining low digit. And 8 is not its partner, it's a 9, which can only be in here because of Sudoku, which also gives me a 7 in here, forces a 2 in there, forces a 9 in here. Which gives me a 1-2 pair in here. And then the rest of this is 1, 2, 3. I need 4, 6, and 8. 8 you can see is not there. That's 8. That's not the 6. That's the 4. Remember I said the 8 was with 2, 4, 7, and 9. 4, 7, and 9 are not available anymore. This is 2, 8. And this is the remaining 4, 7. This cell is just known 3, which requires 2, 4, 7, or 9. Not 4, not 7, not 9. That's 2. This is a known digit. That's just 8. That removes 8 off the table in here. These 3 cells are also known. 1, 2, 3. I need a 4, which can only go in here. I need a 7, which can only go in there. And then an 8. Not an 8, excuse me. 6. That is the 8. This is 1, 2, 6. That's not a 2. If that's 1, that can't be 2, 4, or 9. It would have to be 7. And if that's 6, it's still 2, 4, 7, or 9, and it's always 7 because the 2, 4, 9 are gone. Then essentially I have another 1, 2, 6 in here, and a 3, which I can't actually place. Can't resolve yet. Can't resolve yet. Can't resolve yet. We're getting close though, so 6, 3, 7. Oh no, 8 are almost done. Right, let's just see what brings this home. So essentially I have another 2, 6, 8 and something else at 3, which I still can't place, but it's essentially locks out columns 7 and 9. So 3 is in one of these two cells. That's a 3. Completing this is 1 or 6 to complete column 8, and it's not 1. That's a 6. That's a 1. What am I missing? 4 is in one of these. I am going to just pencil mark at this point, just speed things up a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 7, which seems like it can go anywhere. And 9, which is one of these two cells. Shame about the 7. What am I missing? Because really at this point it is just Sudoku. Here is what I'm missing. That's 7. That's 9. That's 1. That's 4. That 7 gave me 3. 7. The 1 gave me 2. 1. It doesn't force a 2, 6 in here. The 3 though forces a 3. This is a 6. That's a 2. That's a 6. That's an 8. That's a 2. That's an 8. 2 and 6 in here. That's 6. That's 2. That's 8. That's 2. That's 7. If I've not made any mistakes, that's 4 for the finish. Phenomenal puzzle, guBBLOR and Jasura. Pretty happy with the solve time, actually. Under 30 minutes for 3 stars. Not sure I would entirely agree with the difficulty rating. Feels like other 2-star difficulty rated puzzles we've solved. But I think probably the practice that we've had with Dutch Whisper lines helps. As does, of course, familiarity with guBBLOR's kind of rule sets with equality dots, equality cages, shifted line, shifted dots. Fantastic puzzle. I hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.